Welcome to I Love My HBCU ? The podcast where we express our undeniable love for HBCUs, but where we are also not afraid to address a few tough questions. So, sit back, learn a little, love a lot, and rep your HBCU.
All right, everyone. Anyone who tunes in regularly knows what the F am I listening to right now? This is Tosin. I am recovering from the flu, so I sound crappy, but I have Karleigh N'diaye, she's amazing. She is Miss North Carolina Central University, but she's more than that. So I'm going to let her give a worthy introduction of herself to the audience. Karleigh, how are you?
I am good. Thank you so much. And just thank you. I love my HBCU for having me. Once again, I am Karleigh N'diaye. I'm the 82nd Miss North Carolina Central University. I am a senior social work student. And I'm also an adult adoptee.
Okay, let's talk about that. Because even before we started recording, right? And the reason why I want to, before we started, I was going to ask you, can we talk about it? And the fact that you introduced yourself that way, can we talk about what that means? When most of us hear adoption, we're thinking of childhood adoption or even when you get adopted as a baby. And if you don't mind sharing your journey and your story of being an adult adoptee, I'd love to hear it. And I'm sure the audience would as well.
Yeah, so, it's actually funny because oftentimes people do know that I'm adopted, but I've never really shared my story much. My mom, she shared it a little bit, and I share it with my close friends and some of my peers, but I really never really shared my story. So I love my HBCU. Shout out to y'all really being kind of the first. So just a little bit about me and my adoption. So I didn't go the traditional route. Like we just stated, I am an adult adoptee, which means I didn't go through the foster care system. So there are adult adoptees who might have went through the foster care system, but for me, that just, didn't take place. Me and my sister, my now sister, who was originally my best friend, we met in like fifth grade through a mutual friend. And later on, we got really close. Not to share too much, but at my biological home, we was falling on hard times, and my sister, she just let me keep coming over, and so I kept coming over. And my mom, she was letting me come to Bible studies and stuff. Next thing you know, I'm getting a purple basket of clothes brought over by my biological parent. And next thing you know, I'm spending the night there because the situation at home, it just kind of kept going downhill. And ever since then, my mom and dad, they brought me in as their own, and they love me, and they've embraced me. They've helped me grow. They've helped me become the young woman and queen that I am today. And I really don't know why God has allowed such an amazing family to fall into my path as I'm on this earth, but I'm honestly so grateful. And what a unique story. My best friend turned into my sister, and now I'm with my forever family. And I transitioned at the age of 12, and I got adopted at 18 is when my parents presented me my adoption papers.
That's
So
amazing. So I personally think that's amazing. And the
thank you.
reason why I believe it's amazing is there are just so many different structures of family. That's number one. Number two, listening to your story gives me hope. And the reason why I'm settling on hope from listening to your story is it's not unheard of for families to go through hard times.
Yeah,
Number
most
one.
definitely.
Number two, it's also not unheard of for families to believe that they were equipped to have
Hmm.
children, and then as time grew, realizing this is not working out the way we would have hoped it would work out. The way you just shared your story, I hear a lack of judgment, I hear a lot of
Yes.
love, and I hear
Yes.
a lot of acceptance. That's what I
Most
hear.
definitely. Yes.
And that makes my heart warm, especially in the world we live in.
Yes.
Depending on what kind of person you are, I'm an extremely optimistic person. I'm a realist, but I'm an extremely optimistic person. So I always see that there's good in the world. But
Yes.
depending on who you are, you might think that the world is horrible. And when I hear stories like this, it's a
Mm,
reminder that it actually isn't all horrible. And there's some really amazing people in the world that
yeah.
create spaces for a number of us to thrive. That's what I
Yes.
hear when I hear that story, which is amazing.
Yes, thank you so much. And I can say that's exactly what it is. My mom, after me coming in, she was a foster parent as well. So she opened up her home to a plethora of foster children who needed a space at the time. And two of those foster children led into adoption, which are now my brothers. And it's funny that you say, love and inclusivity and diversity is because that's exactly what it is. My mom does not. Although, most definitely, you need to see people's color, you need to understand people's race, their ethnicity, and their background. You should most definitely respect where people come from and what their roots are. And my mom has always made sure that me and my siblings understand our roots, understand where we come from. And it's like we kind of had a conversation before we got on the call. Like I shared that one of my biological parents are Senegalese, and it's like my mom still lets me embrace that. She doesn't. I didn't come in her household, and now I have to erase my past. No, she wants me to embrace my path. And I find that's important for everybody because embracing a quote I live by, sorry, is embracing your true self radiates a natural beauty that cannot be ignored. And I feel like my mom has always showcased that, and my father. And just to even bring forth diversity even more, like one of my biological brothers, he is Caucasian, and one of my adopted brothers is Caucasian. And it kind of shook the internet at one point when my both of my black parents posted that they adopted a white son. It was like, oh, it was a bunch of controversy. Oh, you could have adopted any black child in foster care, or you could have got somebody who looks more like you. But my parents didn't look for that. They looked for love. Because sometimes when you go into the foster care system, you can pick what kind of child you want to come into your home. You have a choice. My parents didn't want a choice. They wanted to be able to help whoever it was that needed help. And because of that, we have a diverse family. We have a family that comes from multiple different backgrounds, yet we continue to embrace with love. And that's just what it is.
Give your mom and dad a hug for me. I don't know them, but give them a
Yes.
hug for me. They literally sound as if they ooze out love from who they are, and I appreciate that. So, Karleigh, I'm going to ask you just one more question on the adoption story before I move on and throw a whole bunch of other questions at you. And this is an opinion question, right?
Mhm.
Because you did share with us that your African American parents adopted a Caucasian son, and I don't know about you, and I don't know what the statistics are, but I think we are used to seeing the opposite. That is, white parents adopting any color of kids that they choose to, but not particularly black parents adopting any color of kids that they choose to. What's your reaction to that?
I think the fact that there even is that type of stigma put out there within adoption is kind of saddening because at the end of the day, these children need love. And it doesn't matter if, especially, it really does not matter about anybody's race or their skin tone or the way that they look. If they're willing to provide these children with a loving home, if they're able to provide them what they need and what they also desire and just can build them to become children who can aspire to do anything in life, who can just make life, if they can just make life better for them, sorry. But I just believe that it's just saddening to even hear such a thing because love is love and they're able to provide a beautiful home. So,
I happen to personally agree, and I find it. I start questioning in my head, what are you not saying
yeah,
when you critique the African American or you question the African American or the black parents who choose to adopt a white child, not
right.
because the child is white, but because the child needs a loving home? What are you not saying when you have an issue with that? That always comes to mind for me. So, Karleigh, you mentioned earlier on that you're a social work major, and Lord have mercy. I would want you to be the kind of social work major that is fighting my battles for me in these streets, to be extremely honest with you. What led you down that road? Because anyone that chooses social work, if you ask me, there's a mission drive behind you that leads you down that pathway. And I don't want to make any assumptions here. What led you down the road of, I'm going to go after social work?
I believe that it's okay to make assumptions in this
Okay,
because
because I might
as
be
you said,
right.
yes, it most definitely does come a lot from my path. I can say that because of my past, it has led me to understand that we have a corrupt system. We have a system that is not always trying to do what's best for the people, and we have a money hungry system. At the end of the day, I thank God. I am a Christian, so I most definitely, I hold my biblical standpoint in place with, everybody deserves to be treated equally. Everybody deserves mercy and love and grace. And at the end of the day, you got to make sure you're doing what's right overall, not just for a specific group of people, but for people in general, because we're all human. We all make mistakes and we all deserve love. But also within our system that is corrupt, we have families who or children who end up going back to families that aren't even ready to take care of them because we always believe that it's best that children go back to families. And although I'm not combating that, I do believe that there are some people who, or some children and some social workers and some systems that need to dissolve a issue in its completeness. They need to understand every aspect of a story and actually take their time. And because of the lack of social workers, because of the lack of employment within the social work system, social work is so much more than what people see. Social workers don't just take children away from their families, as most people think. Like, that's just a stereotype put on social workers. As soon as I tell somebody, I'm a social work major, oh, so you want to take people's children away from their family? No, that's actually not what I want to do at all. And it's so sad to hear that and to think that that's people's perspective on social work, when social workers are world changers. Social workers are social action people who want to make a difference, who see the struggle within the system and who want to make an impact, who want to be the first line of defense for these people who do not know how to advocate and take up for themselves. That's what a social worker is. Social workers do the behind the scene work to make an impact on these families who are overlooked and just not even seen by the government sometimes. So,
Wow. That's powerful. That's powerful, and you make me believe. What do you say? And I wrote this down. You mentioned at least 3 times that the system is corrupt, and I don't think anybody would disagree with you. Even the most optimistic and positive ones of us would not disagree with you.
I agree.
So if we both agree that the system is corrupt, Karleigh, where do you get? Let me rephrase that actually. So, a student in your generation said to me recently, it's so hard to change things.
Yeah.
And they're not wrong. If we both know that, we know the system is corrupt, and we know it's so hard to change things, where do you get that hope and the drive from to pick a career that is almost always going to be combating those two things against you consistently?
And I am a little biased with where my stance comes from. Kind of like I mentioned earlier, I am a Christian. And my strength does not come from myself, because these battles that we face within this world are not things that we can carry on our own. There are so many things and so many places and rooms that I've went that I'm like, I don't even know how I'm here. It's almost as if I have an imposter syndrome. Like, is this even really me here? Like, do I deserve to be in this space? But then I recognize there's a reason that God gave me the voice that I have. He gave me the stance and given me the positions that I have, because I see that we got to be the change that we want to see in this world. Like I said it earlier, I got to embrace who I truly am. I can't hide from what I came from. I can't hide from where God's going to take me, but I just got to take it head on. At the end of the day, I feel like my strength really just comes from understanding that I got to be what I want to see. If I want to see a difference in this world, I got to be different. If I want to see somebody take a stand, I have to learn how to take a stand. And it's not always easy, especially like you said, even the most optimistic person may not agree with, may not be able to be like, oh, this is a great place to be in life right now, especially with all the policies that are taking place. And I can even take this back to, since, I love my HBCU. I'm at the HBCU with one of the 5 in North Carolina, one of the 5 HBCUs to have a diversity inclusion center. And because of the diversity, equity, inclusion that's been going on, we literally had to change the name of our center. So you're telling me at a school that's built for people who are in a place that is built for the minority, literally can't even have a censor within that atmosphere for minorities. And you're telling me I'm supposed to sit back and accept it and be okay and stay positive and believe that I'm supposed to continue to keep my mouth shut and keep my head down and do whatever it is that I'm supposed to do. No, I'm supposed to learn how to stand up and speak up for myself. And that's exactly what North Carolina Central University has taught me. It's taught me that you have to be an advocate. Not only you have to be a representative of yourself, you have to be a representative of your peers, because not everybody around you is going to know how to speak up. Not everybody around you is going to know the next step to take. Not everybody around you has family or even people from back home that have went to college, that understand the college atmosphere, that understand the places and the rooms that you have to go into and the rooms that you have to speak in to actually make a difference. So I would say what keeps me going is the people around me. What keeps me going is the love that God has graced me with, because the love is not my own, because sometimes, we can get aggravated, sometimes we can get overwhelmed, overstimulated. And I just thank God for allowing me to continue to push through even on my hardest days, and for giving me a vision to know that there's so much more to this world than what we see even on our best days.
This is an amazing conversation. I love it. I love it. And I thank you for going there and speaking in your full voice. I can tell that you are not holding anything back, and I absolutely appreciate that. So if you have watched our podcast, right about now is when I'm going to throw the rapid fire segment at you. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Let's do this. All right, Karleigh, describe yourself in 3 words.
I would most definitely say I'm tenacious. I always tell people to have 3 words on track. Okay. Tenacious. I am resilient. And I am loving.
I'm throwing passionate out there for you as well, because after just listening to everything you just said, you are a passionate human being. All right, Karleigh. Oh my gosh, you're graduating in 2.5 seconds. So they've already picked your commencement speaker, I'm guessing. But if you could have selected your commencement speaker, who would you have wanted it to be?
Dead or alive?
Dead or alive, yeah, because they've already picked yours. So dead or alive.
Okay, dead or alive.
I like that.
Okay. If I could pick a commencement speaker, it would be Shirley Chisholm. And not only because she's my soror, I might be a little biased, but because she is a woman who took forth going for a a big seat for running for presidency. She went after the Democratic seat in a time where women were suffering, in a time where women weren't even seen as humans. Honestly, like they weren't even seen as the way the man was seen. And I honestly don't know how to word that right now, but it's okay. So in a time where a woman, a African American, going after a dominant seat, a Democratic seat. And I find it amazing because, especially with the time that we're in, when Kamala Harris, she ran for president of the United States of America, it really brought back up when Shirley Chisholm did that. And when she took that stand, and that she understood that I can be the next president of the United States of America. I don't care what glass ceilings I have to break. I don't care what you believe I can't do, but I know that as long as I stand firm and I stand knowledgeable and I know exactly what I need to do and I'm able to reach the people and be the voice for the people, I know that I can do it. And regardless, when she lost, she stood strong and she continued to do exactly what she needed to do. And as she once said and stated, if they don't give you a seat at the table, bring a folding chair. And that is one of my favorite quotes from her, because now we are at the stance and now we're at the time when Kamala Harris didn't make it. Okay, she brought her own seat to the table. But now we're at a point in time and a point in history where if we don't have a seat at the table, don't only bring a folding chair, but build a table, build your own table, build a bigger table, one where every Black woman is appreciated and uplifted. That's what we need to do. And so that's why I believe I would pick Shirley Chisholm, because she made it clear for women like us, for little girls who didn't have people to look up to when it came to politics, or when people in minority areas would always see a white man coming to their area to tell them to vote for them and to feed them these lies. And this is what I'm going to do for you. And they never do it. Shirley Chisholm was a woman who stood on her word, who showcased how she was going to do it. And she ran her campaign differently. She wasn't out here trying to get all the money in the world. No, she ran a person-to-person campaign. Shirley Chisholm went to all these different areas, making sure that she was able to reach these people, that they were seeing her for who she really was. And she wasn't holding back. She was embracing herself. She was being that Black, bold woman that we needed her to be. So that's why.
Shirley Chisholm. So I've smiled so hard that my left cheek hurts. I'm not kidding. Because in my head, I was like, Karleigh forgot this was rapid fire. And when should...
I'm sorry. Let me get on track.
It's okay. It's okay. But I was laughing so hard. Like, she clean forgot this was rapid fire. I went straight into letting you know, listen, if you have not heard of Shirley Chisholm before, you are going to get a little bit of a lesson about who she is today. I appreciate it. I'm just going to throw a few more rapid fire questions at you just for kicks and giggles at this point. What's your unpopular opinion about HBCUs?
Unpopular opinion. I love fried chicken Wednesdays. You know, almost every HBCU has a fried chicken Wednesday.
That's true.
I love
she said, I love it.
But I love it.
You're leaving soon, and I bet they're going to miss you. A, I bet they're going to miss you. B, I bet they're going to invite you at some point in time to be the commencement speaker at North Carolina Central University, because you already have that in you. Go back to freshman Karleigh for a hot second. What would you have told freshman Karleigh to prepare her differently for those next 4 years?
I would have told her that there's no reason to hold back. There's no reason to try to be somebody else. There's no reason to continue to try to fit in and do things that you wouldn't naturally do if you're by yourself. I would tell her just really the quote that I live by, to actually embrace your true self so that you can radiate a natural beauty that nobody can ignore. Because I feel like there was multiple times I was trying to find myself. It was a new atmosphere. So I'll just be like, stay true to yourself and do whatever it is that you desire to do that is positive and will make an impact, because you can do it, because you have the people there to help you. And this is a time where people are getting paid to pour into you. Yeah. So take that. So
Agreed. Last one, shout out your favorite professor or person, which is going to be hard for you because you're Miss North Carolina Central. But shout out your favorite professor or person on your campus, and what do they do?
But I'm going to have to shout out Jamal Searcy. And he's probably, if he watches this, he's going to be waiting for me to shout out his name. But Jamal Searcy, he is the best person ever. He has provided me with so many opportunities. He is my Royal Court advisor. He's over Royal Court, and he's also over Student Government Association. He is our first point of contact. He is our first point of defense when it comes to anything at North Carolina Central University. And I just believe he doesn't receive his flowers enough sometimes. And he is a man who is more than deserving of his position. And he always puts his best foot forward for his students. And I honestly believe that he is one of the main reasons that I'm even serving as the 82nd Miss North Carolina Central University, because he saw something in me that I didn't see within myself. And he made sure that he saw it. He made sure that I knew he saw it in me.
That's beautiful. Okay, you mentioned it earlier on. You're from North Carolina. There are several HBCUs in North Carolina. There are several universities in North Carolina, period. Give me your college selection journey. How did you settle on North Carolina Central University?
Well, my mom is an Eagle.
Okay.
She is. So it wasn't too hard for me. And it was during COVID when I was doing my college tours and everything. So it was a little different. I wasn't really doing in person. Most of them were online, and I'm not too tech savvy. So I was not too happy with the fact that it was going to be online. And North Carolina Central made a little mistake, right? So they accidentally sent out an in-person tour. Sorry to put y'all on blast. I love my illustrious North Carolina Central University, but they did make a mistake. So we ended up driving up there, and because we drove and another person drove as well from Maryland, they allowed us to have our tour. And honestly, I fell in love with the campus on the tour, but then I came back and I had a source session, which is our new student orientation.
Okay.
And from that, I'm like, oh, this is home. Like,
Wow.
this is where I need to be. No need for me to even try nowhere else. I was also on academic scholarship too, so I was like, where the money reside? I'm like, send it away. So yes.
I absolutely love that. And the fact that I know the Money Resides song, like when you said that, I was singing it in my head. That is crazy. We're not gonna sing it though, because he does
Right.
it best. We're gonna leave it to him to do. That was hilarious. Karleigh, you've mentioned so many things that I want to get into, and we're going to throw HBCUs in there. It is I love my HBCU question mark after all. But there's some things you mentioned that I kind of want us to needle at a little bit.
Okay.
You mentioned building your own table and not just bringing a chair. And I want us to talk about what that means to you. Um, and I'm going to throw something else. So, right now, while we're recording, as you know, there is an attack on DEI like nobody's business, to the point that there are a couple of big personalities. Reverend Jamal Bryant, Reverend Al Sharpton is another one, calling for African Americans and Black people to speak with their money and actually boycott your Amazons, your Targets, and so many others, because it sounds as if many of them are rolling back their DEI programs. Putting those two things together, what role do you think your generation has with regards to making sure people listen to what's important to you?
Yeah. I would say the role that we play is being the trailblazers. And although we hear that term all the time, and every generation is a new set of trailblazers, but they are trying to move backwards. And it is
Hmm.
crazy. And it kind of gives me chills when you even say something like that. Like, are we really sitting here talking about diversity, equity, and inclusion in the United States of America, where we live in a pool of diversity, equity, and inclusion? Like a nation full of many different cultures, many different ethnicities, races, all of the above. And you're telling me we're sitting here talking about diversity, equity, inclusion. It is blind. It just doesn't even sound real, honestly. But with my generation, it is time for us to fall into the stereotypes that always come onto us. We don't know how to listen. Right, we don't. So we won't listen to you when you try to tell us that because of my skin color or because of my hair, we are not able to do something, or I'm not able to have something. Because we don't listen anyways. It is time for us to speak out and to be disturbing. And as they say, we are when we are in classes, we're disturbing the peace. Okay, well, it's time for us to disturb that peace. It's time for us to do things out of the ordinary, things that they don't want us to do. My generation, as much as I feel like it may be spoken down on, is very bright, very intelligent, and knows how to use their voice. Because even when they try to silence us, we still speak up, because at the end of the day, we have that I don't care. Like, okay, I do not care. Because at the end of the day, nobody is going to fight as hard as you're going to fight for yourself and for your people and for your family. So, more of the story, because that got me there. Because it's funny that we're filming this. I know it's going to be posted later, but on the blackout day. Today is blackout day.
Today
Today
is the
is the
blackout
day to
day.
boycott all those that you mentioned and some. And I don't know. It's just time for us to fall into the stereotypes that have been placed on us anyways.
So, this isn't even devil's advocate. That's not true. But I'm going to throw this at you. So I'm lucky. I consider myself lucky. And when I say I'm lucky, what do I mean by that? And I say this too. I'm at a university, I'm at an HBCU in Maryland. And I say to my president all the time, the best place to leave Tosin is amongst her students. And that's why I think I'm lucky. I get to hear the Karleighs all the time. And I love listening to the Karleighs all the time. We argue. We tell each other how wrong we are and how right we are. We disagree all the time. And then we go and have coffee or tea later on, because we understand that we're coming from a place of, we may not necessarily be from the same generation, but we both want the same thing. And that's a good thing.
Yes.
So, I'm going to quote a member of your generation who, when we were discussing DEI and the Blackout Day, said, nah, I'm tired of this nonsense.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a guy. He said, my definition of building our own table is let them have their stuff. Let them have their stuff. Why are we fighting so hard to be a part of what they will never fully embrace us into? And it got all of us quiet. And it's not that we didn't see the purpose of the Blackout Day. We saw it. But we also saw the purpose of what he said. And I'll give you a bigger example because this is where it started from, and then it led to the Blackout Day. So anyone who knows Joy Reid on MSNBC this week on the February the 24th was her last day at MSNBC. And near the end, she was in tears. Yeah. And she's apologizing. She's apologizing and she's wiping her tears. And this kid got angry. He's like, nah, let her be what she wants to be. She wants to cry, let her cry. I don't even want her on MSNBC anymore. And we're all listening to him like, okay. And he's like, because if they keep her on MSNBC, it gives them the power tomorrow to get rid of her again. And he's not wrong. So I want your take, Karleigh, on, and I'm not going to mention his name, but when he hears this, he's going to be like, man, Dr. Tilson shouted me out. That's what he's going to say. But what is your thought on this young man's perspective that for some of these things, we don't need to fight to be part of their establishments anymore? And building our own table means be like Roland Martin and have your own media network entity. Yeah. Building our own tables means be like Fawn Weaver and have your own distillery. And I can give several other examples where you're not part and parcel with an entity that just never seems to ever want to fully embrace you. What are your thoughts on that?
At first, when you had said it, I kind of thought like maybe me and him had two different perspectives on build your own table, but it kind of came together at the end. And my thoughts are, he's absolutely right. Like, oh, y'all think we need you. And in a sense, we have been, even from the beginning of time, it's been to a point of, we're trying to make our way out. No. We're trying to make our way in. No, we need to make our own way. We're not trying to make our way in. We're not trying to make our way to fit in. None of that. Like, we just need to, at the end of the day, make our own way. And that's new. That's completely new. How do we go about such a thing? Yeah. How do we build our own table realistically?
Yeah.
How do we do that in the way that the economy is set up, in the way that society is set up, in the way that everybody is money hungry for themselves, in the way it's like, well, me and mine is good. I know y'all ain't really messing with Target, but hey, I'm getting a little cut from Target. So yeah, I don't know about y'all. How are we going to get everybody on one accord? What is it going to take out of DEI, out of us being that diversity, equity, inclusion to understand like we were never included? Y'all had to put policies in place to include me. Y'all have to create bills to include me. It's not natural. There's not a way that I can just be included without you having to put a policy in place or take a policy away so that I can get removed. I'm a bill. I'm a policy at this point. Because if it's written on a piece of paper, you can remove me. I was never included. It's invisible at this point who is included. If that doesn't make sense, I can explain. Like, the white man is invisible because his name doesn't have to be written down on that paper because he's automatically included. Why do I have to have a policy or a bill that includes me as a citizen of the United States of America if that's what I am? It makes no sense. It just doesn't. I don't even know how to explain it, but I agree. We just got to figure out, however it be, to build our own table. We have to have our own back.
I love, gosh, because the future is in your hands, I think we're good. No, seriously, because you didn't You could have run away with this emotionally, but you didn't. And for those listening, this is what I mean when I say I don't believe she ran away with this emotionally. As you agreed with the young man's viewpoint of we need to have our own, as opposed to begging to be let in or trying to get out, it's building our own way. You also asked some very realistic questions. The how. How do we do that? Especially in a society and a culture that is extremely economically driven. And all of us want to be okay by the end of the day. And because all of us want to be okay by the end of the day, how do we marry both of those things? Me being okay and me still making sure I am part of the greater body of work that is building a table for all of my people. And those are questions that you and I cannot answer on this framework, on any framework. But I do believe if more and more of your generation keep asking that question, your generation also is going to be the one that answers that question for us. And we're going to see the how. And we may not get to the totality of what that how looks like with your generation, but then the next generation and then the generation afterwards. So I appreciate that. Karleigh, what's the one thing, and I know you're going to say it's more than one thing, but what's the one thing that you would want the entire world to know that North Carolina Central University gets so right that everyone who's considering enrolling into a college must put North Carolina Central on their radar?
One thing that North Carolina Central University gets right, and some people may have their own opinions, but it's student development. One thing that I can say for sure is when you come into North Carolina Central University, you're not going to be the same person when you leave. And it's just natural because North Carolina Central University is a smaller HBCU. The people there literally want to help you. They love to help you. I've had so many people who may not even know my position, who just naturally are there at service. Truth and service is our school motto, but literally they are servants. The staff there serves the students. They see beyond what it is that we see. We come in, we see 4 years. They come in, they see the next future generation of leaders, and they pour into us. And I can say honestly, like the staff there, me knowing them personally, I know what they go through sometimes. But you would never know that if you don't know them personally, because they always put their best foot forward and make sure that students receive what they need to receive. The staff always advocates for us. And shout out our new chancellor, because, she's out here advocating for us, making sure that we get the funds that we need. Literally, she's everywhere, the perfect representation of an HBCU, because that's exactly how HBCU students have to move. We have to be everywhere at once because we are fighting against this DEI that is in this real world. I can't say one thing HBCUs do is create almost a sense of a false reality, because it feels so much like home. And then you get in this real world and you're like, oh, let me remember I'm a minority. You have to be these, oh, I can do this, I can do that, I can do that. I can't have one skill. I have to have them all. Because at the end of the day, I got to be able to showcase that I'm deserving.
Yeah.
Even though my resume showcases I'm deserving, but you still don't believe I'm deserving. So North Carolina Central University is going to make sure that you are not the same person that you are when you come in.
I love it. I love it. So I always do this, so don't hate me.
Okay.
If I'm going to ask you, what do they do so well? Because every university's got its struggles. What's the one thing that as you're leaving, and I know you're going to pour back into your very soon to be alma mater, what's the one thing that you think, okay, we need to get this done better, or we need to get this part right, that could end up deterring somebody if we don't work on it?
I feel like I'm really biased because I get to see all the positive things in North Carolina State University. And although I am a student, I have experienced, some things that students experience. And that's at any college or university. I would say for my campus, it's parking. It's really that simple. It's just parking. But I can say this year they've started to tackle it. And I already know that next year is going to be together. So
And to hear a university in the South, because I consider North Carolina the South, having a parking issue is ridiculous to me. Because freaking up north, it's like, what? Oh, do we have to park in the sky? Sometimes I literally say, I'm going to have to park in the sky. So I absolutely get it. Karleigh, I could talk to you forever. I believe in your mission and I believe in your vision. I look forward to hearing your name years from now because you're going to do amazing things in whatever it is you decide to do. Um, but is there something that Tosin should have brought up that because I got excited about our conversation, I did not bring up that you want to bless the audience with before we round out?
as you can tell from when I was supposed to be speaking quick and answering quickly. I most definitely am long winded. But one thing that I wish we could have brought up, which we kind of did, but like
Okay.
I'm going to graduate, post grad readiness. How ready
Mm.
do I feel? What's the reality of you being a student leader since you were a freshman to now being the midst of your university, and now you're about to graduate? How do you feel? What's next? Where are you going? Or do you feel ready? Did your university prepare you for the real world in this economy? Like, where it's most students who graduate from college aren't getting a full-time job or are having to go back into what we wouldn't consider a career job until we get higher education, because now
Mm.
it's not just a bachelor's, now it's a master's, now it's a doctorate. Like, now that's just a question I wish you would have asked. And can I dive into that a little bit? Do I have
Please
time?
answer it, girl.
My
Yes,
answer
please.
is, for even I've talked to my brother kings and sister queens about this, even student leaders at my university who are seniors and who are about to leave. And we are, as much as we are ready, our 4 years is up, thank God, we are also like, this is going to be another transition into a whole different atmosphere. I'm not grownish, I'm grown now. As my mom likes to say, I'm grownish, but we're actually about to be full adults. Everything we do falls on us, and everything that we do from now on is our brand. And it's kind of scary, most definitely. Although my Lord does not give me a spirit of fear, I most definitely can say I'm a little nervous about my next journey. Now, I'm one in the few of students who have a job set up for me after I graduate. Thank God, I'm in here right now, but but I'm on break as well. Thank God. But it's just like, that is something I wish more people would talk about, is how, although my school hosts, shout out to CPDC, which is my Career and Professional Development Center, we host plenty of job opportunities, job fairs, make sure you go out there. It's sometimes not even as diverse as it could be,
Mm.
which is hard, which shout out to them. They do amazing, and I'm not taking back from them. But you just never know what could be going on through somebody's mind. And so this is what I want to leave. I want to leave. If you are somebody on here and you are an undergrad and you know a couple seniors who have left or who are leaving, reach out to them, check in on them. This is going to be a new journey for them. The same way your parents keep checking in on you as a freshman, what you doing, where you at? Can I come see you, mom? Like, I just got here. Like, what are you doing? But check in on that senior, check in on that recent graduate, and see how they're doing. See if there's any way that you could host an event and have them come speak on a panel to pour back into their community, because you never know. You never know how much they may need to be around that. So that's all I'm gonna
Karleigh, you almost made me cry. No, seriously. And thank you.
mm-hmm.
So I typically ask people to bless the audience with one last thing before they go, and I never know what they're going to say. And yours was an indictment on me for not having asked you a question that I should have asked you. And I appreciate you because I did not think about that question. So I sincerely appreciate you.
I appreciate you.
But you've also indicted me in a good way. God, I'm about to cry. No, you're not. Tosin, hold back these tears because I cry so easily. That's such a brilliant idea, Karleigh. And it's one that I don't think enough of us think about.
Mm-hmm.
The minute you guys graduate, you're grown.
Mm-hmm.
And we leave you alone.
Literally.
Literally.
Go adult.
I've done it. Go adult.
Yeah.
Mind you, all of us can testify to how gruesome and excruciating that transition from college to adulting really is.
Yeah.
That the Tosins of the world should have done exactly what you just said. And I'm going to. Literally, you just said it, and I'm going to. 5 names came to mind when you said that, and that's what made me almost cry. I was like, Tosin, when last did you check on them?
Yeah.
You didn't even check on them within a month or 2 of them graduating. Shame on you. Why didn't you do that? Mind you, these are people that I literally was always checking on while they were in college.
Yeah.
So thank you for that. You're leaving the audience with it, but you're leaving me with it as well. Now, Karleigh, I want you to now officially end our recording with one word or short phrase on why you, Karleigh N'diaye, loves HBCUs.
I love HBCUs because HBCUs are history in motion.
Enough said. To everyone listening, it is impossible, and watching, because she is gorgeous, it is impossible, and I mean this with every fiber of my being, for you to have listened to this entire episode and not like it because of Karleigh N'diaye. You're going to hear her name. You're going to want her to come back and speak on panels and speak to your students. So please remember her. And if you think, even with this raspy voice, I have done a good enough job in having this conversation with Karleigh, go ahead and subscribe to I Love My HBCU ? Yours in HBCU love. See you next episode. Karleigh, I love you. Thank you so much.
You've been listening to I Love My HBCU ? Let's keep the conversation going as we share our stories and encourage more practical support of HBCUs, whilst, of course, holding each other accountable. Don't forget to follow and subscribe for the latest episodes. Until next time, love and lift your HBCU.